What's going on, everybody? Let me know if you can hear me and everything is good technically. I'm gonna give it another minute or two, then I'll get started. I'm just gonna assume everything's good unless I hear otherwise. Couldn't load YouTube live control panel. Try to fix that. All right, what's going on, everybody? Can you guys hear me? Somebody let me know that this is audible and that I'm live and everything. And we can get started. Excellent. All right, that's great to hear. How's it going, everybody? Happy New Year's, Merry Christmas, all that stuff. So I am gonna get started today. So I am going to an event in 3 weeks called NAMM. It's a giant music industry event. I'm setting up a little demo display booth. And I think the plan for the next couple weekends is going to be pretty unstructured, just like Q&A if anybody has any questions or issues or anything. But if not, I'm probably just going to try to make cool patches and maybe record some videos. I'll clearly narrate anything I'm doing, but yeah, let me know if at any point in time you guys have any questions or any suggestions or ideas or pretty much anything, because that's what I am here for. So I need to start recording this. I think I really need to start posting the high resolution videos of this because I really am annoyed by all the compression that happens when this stuff gets uploaded to YouTube and whatnot. Anyways, I'm gonna get started. So I think my first thought is that I'm gonna use the fractal instrument, but maybe try to integrate some of the new modules from the Cat Party update and see what we can do. So, yeah, I'll just get started. One of the easiest places to get started is by creating some modulation patterns. So I definitely want everything to be audio reactive, so we'll add some audio reactivity into here. So we'll just start off with a couple of the basic pre-made audio reactive modulation patterns, like that one. And let's load that one too. I'm just going to start with some of the audio reactive patterns and then mess around with them. And I believe I have solved that audio issue that everybody had been running into. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I have. So hopefully that should be able to get fixed in the next week. I'm planning a release sometime the next week. Hopefully it'll have some fixes to the Wi-Fi manager and some bug fixes like this audio issue that people have been running into. On a positive note, the issue that I believe is causing the audio issue is also causing some number of people's synths to slow down by like 10 or 15%. So when I fix this issue, everybody's synths should get a mild but real speed performance boost. So Alright, so back to these modulation patterns. Let's actually see what we have. Alright, so we've got... Oh, that doesn't work at all, huh? That was actually really stupid. So we've got these 3 audio-reactive modulation patterns right here. Let's make them more interesting. Let's go into this guy. And so we've got this pattern right here. Alright, so let's start using some of... I don't even know what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of guessing. What happens if I do this guy and then kind of blend it with that? Alright, now we've got a slightly more interesting audio-reactive pattern. Let's move this. So let's lower the frequency. And then rotate it a little bit. Can I do that? I think I should be able to. Yeah, it's this theta control right here. Actually, let's put that on LFO. Ah, God damn it. I just want it to be scrolling so it's constantly rotating. And then I'll make it slow. There we go. I need to make this preview kind of stick around a little bit more because it cuts out often. It's a little bit too fast. Let's make it really slow. Yeah, like when I'm going in here and doing this kind of stuff, I really want this preview to stick around. Alright, so now we have one audio-reactive modulation pattern. Let's go into this guy. I kind of like that. I think that's fine. And let's make this one totally based on the texture. And for the texture, we can use this guy. Nah, I think that needs a little bit more of a controlled. Actually, yeah, let's use one of these input images. Let's just choose one. Alright, so now we're gonna have this be one of the modulation patterns, except I want it to be animated some. I think you can... Yeah, let's just put this on like a saw wave, so it'll be zooming in and out. And it's gonna go from 1 to 2 slowly. And we'll make that be like 52. Alright. Now we've got some squares that are just slowly zooming in and out, which should just add some random variation. And yeah, I am going to mix in a little bit of audio reactivity back into here through the... maybe not. Maybe I'll just leave it exactly like this. Play with that. There we go. Alright, so that's a modulation pattern. So yeah, now we've got 3 modulation patterns that are kind of decent. And yeah, we'll just integrate those into random places. So we're going to start with the seed. So we'll go into the seed module here. And let's try one of these. I don't ever use any of these, like... Let's use like a freaking hexagon for some reason. Assuming that actually loads. Yeah, there we go. And I think we can increase its size by doing that. Let's actually go into the hexagon module, and I think there's like this parameter what I never use. Alright. What happens if I like modulate this? I bet it'd be very, very strange. Whoa, that's very strange. I think I'm not gonna have that modulated. I think I'm just gonna give its value like this or something. There's also these things right here which are kind of bizarre. I don't know, I think that actually looks kind of cool. All right, let's go into the recurse module and let's just like load something randomly. Whoa, that was really bizarre. I think that one has an effect on it. Actually, that's pretty cool. So let's go back into the seed module and add some animation, which I think you can actually do from the, yeah, right here actually. I kind of want to turn off the effect in here, or let's play around with one of the new effects. Wow, that's definitely madness. One of the issues with using effects in this module is that it gets compounded on each other on each iteration of the recursion. So it can definitely end up being like pretty gnarly. Alright, I think I'm actually just going to turn the effect off here for now. Oh, it's been being animated. Alright, so all this rainbowiness is coming from the color module. It's using post-processing. I'm going to play around with some of these parameters. I'm going to animate this guy right here. It's an angle, so you can just put it on an infinite scroll to have it continually wrap around. I want this also slow. I'll put it at 43. All right, I'm going to go into the seed module and start playing around with some of these modulation patterns that we made. Actually, first let me add a stripe. So this is now audio reactive. So I don't know if you guys know what this stripe thing is. It's pretty strange. It basically, you see these like horizontal bars that are kind of dipping out here. That's actually generated by the stripe. It's sort of like a fixed effect that exists on in every seed. It's useful. It basically just like cuts out a linear region from like the seed shape. It's useful for adding like transparency and some like audio reactivity. So it's a couple of different things it can do. All right, we're gonna play around with the effect here, and then that's where we're gonna try to get in some of the modulation patterns. So we've got an effect amount control right here, and yeah, we can use some of these modulation patterns to control that, to add some additional audio activity. It's not super visible what's happening. There's actually a lot of transparency going on here, so I will zoom this in a bit. Turn up the height, turn down the height, who knows? Oh yeah, let me change like the texture that's on this in the seed, because we're just using a blank red image. We can change it to an actual texture. We can change it to the output of the recursion module. Why is it all of a sudden black and white? It might be because of the inversion effect. Alright, let's use one of the other generative textures. All right, I'm gonna go. Actually, wait. I'm gonna go back into here. Change that to one with color. Actually, yeah, there we go. I'm gonna play around with some more of these parameters here. Because it's too much going on. I need to make it a little less, like, crazy. The lines are basically too thin. So I'll go into the seed. I think that's because of this weird thing I was doing with hexagon. So let's just try a different one of these. Or let's go to fade. I don't ever play with that one. All right. A lot of this is coming from here. There's a threshold on it. All right, now we're getting somewhere. When you're in this band wave module and you increase the threshold from 0, it then becomes quantized. Or it actually has a threshold. It's 1 if the value of the input wave is bigger than the threshold, it's 0 otherwise. Otherwise, you just get a normal continuous waveform. And this is just some frequency analysis of the input audio. So before it was like this, which gave it a very like quantized look, and I turned that off to make it a little more continuous. So we need more color variation. Let's try playing around with this guy. Sure, why not? All right, yeah, the biggest problem is that it's too monochrome right now, so I will definitely get on that. So we're going to go into the color module, and let's just start with one of the predefined ones. All right, I kind of like this. It just needs more of something going on. I'm not sure what. So we're going to try to use some of the modulation patterns on... Actually, what is the effect even going on here? Let's try modulating this. I like that. It's not quite as visible as I want, and that was modulation pattern 2. So let's try that here too. No. Oh, that's cool. It's getting a little bit too psychedelic. Let's try this guy. Actually, yeah. You can get some really weird stuff by doing this. Kind of like this actually. If we turn it down a little bit. Now there's not quite enough color. I think that's been one of the problems, so I'm gonna try to get a little more contrast into it. I think there's like even a contrast effect. Let me even try doing that. What effect is on there right now? Saturate. That should actually do something useful. Let's try... Huh, that's kind of cool. That is wild. Alright, I don't even know what I'm doing here. Let's try changing the color palette. Let's change like some of the internal parameters here. Oh, there's a phase. What if I make the phase animated really fast for some stupid reason? Well, that is pretty dumb. I'm going to turn down this rotation that I think is coming from in here. I think it's this guy that I've got rotating. I'm not sure this is actually where the rotation that I'm talking about is coming from. I think that was it, yeah. So now it's a little bit slower. Yeah, I want to add a little bit more color somewhere, somehow. So let's go... Oh shoot, yeah, I forget navigation doesn't actually work on that page. Alright, so we're gonna go into the seed and play around with like this right here. I think I just need to make this a little more selective. Try to get some of this color back. Whoa. It looks cool, but it kind of got rid of a lot of the color and the contrast. All right, let's actually, I like that effect here, so. All right, we're gonna turn the effect on here and try to just find one that looks cool. So right now it's monochrome. Let's try wave offs. It's kind of madness, but I do kind of like it. You know, I think there's a control. The easiest place to get to it is here. There's a global band gain control, which basically turns down how reactive the system is to audio. And I kind of like what it's doing, but I wanted to do a little bit less of it, so it's a little bit less like spastic. So let's see how this turns out. That is better if I keep turning it down. And I think most of the really kind of crazy stuff that's happening here is coming because of this mod ZY modulation. And we got 179 as the value. I actually think this looks kind of cool with basically none of it now. Just add a little bit. All right, now we're getting somewhere. I actually do like this. Took a minute, but we got something cool. All right, so I'm gonna make a tag in the library Hopefully you guys know how to do that, but I am going to show you anyways. New tag. It's going to be NAM 2025. All right. And then we're going to go save this guy. And actually, wait, there's another little setting here which is useful to know. Library. Suggested patch name is going to be you guys see what I'm doing here? So it's going to replace auto with the name of the instrument that it was saved from. So, and now when I go to save the patch, this is just a useful organizational thing. So that's NAM fractal 001. So it doesn't kind of interfere with the other existing presets on it, just in terms of organization. So it's a useful little feature that I think is, yeah, good to know about. All right, so we got a patch. All right, this is cool. Let's use this as a starting point and then do something totally different. Actually, you know what? Now we're gonna start from scratch again. Hopefully it won't take quite as long, but that is what we're doing. All right, yeah, so there's another thing. You see how I loaded the init patch and it added some audio activity? If you guys don't know what this is a feature in called auto mapping, where if you have like various IO plugged in and the patch you load doesn't respond to it, it'll automatically make it respond to it. And I want to turn that off on the play page, just in general. So now I load the init patch and it doesn't have audio reactivity. All right, so yeah, let's, I got an idea. I'm gonna do something fairly basic. I'm gonna start with just a horizontal bar. Actually, let's just start, let's start with one horizontal bar. All right, now I'm gonna move it over to the right, left. All right, so I'm gonna turn off all the symmetry here. No symmetry. All right, so now I'm gonna move it. There is still gonna be some symmetry. It's kind of unavoidable, but all right, so this is gonna go all the way to the right, and now I'm gonna zoom the camera back in to almost exactly 1. And now I'm gonna increase the size of this shape. I really don't know what I'm doing, but I have a vague idea. Now I'm gonna put some kind of texture on here. Let's do one of the new textures. Oh, let's actually play around with like lights or something. Let's see how that goes. Okay. This is off to a good start. I'm gonna go back in here and add the other symmetry back, because that actually, having this on both sides would look cool. That didn't work at all how I expected. Huh. Alright, I'm gonna go back into here and play around with these controls, and maybe it'll show back up. See, one of the important things to know of what I just did, so this is like a zoom control. So zoom of exactly one, or setting this value to exactly 1 means that it's not either zoomed in or zoomed out. Setting it just slightly higher than 1 kind of means that it's just slightly zoomed out, which gives you maximum like iterations in the feedback. It kind of starts out up here, so you can at least like distinctly see the various layers, so you can kind of count the actual iterations if you really recognize what you're seeing. But if you get it really close, and you start getting a bajillion iterations. All right, there are some you know what, let's put this, let's just animate this and have it move up and down. Yeah, -1 to 1, and let's make it go pretty slow. Start. You know what I'm actually gonna do? instead of using this lights texture, I'm going to use... Is that even available here? Let me think for a second. Yeah, I'm going to use the AB texture so I can actually mix between two textures. One of which... Oh, I didn't even actually load it. One of which will be the lights. And the other of which will be... this guy. And I can try some weird blend modes. Okay, I like where this is headed. I think if you go in here, there's some additional controls. Intensity, maximum intensity. All right, let's go. Yeah, okay. There's also a mix control. All right, so we're gonna do something here. So I'm gonna save this patch, even though it's not done. It's gonna be NAM Fractal 02. All right, so now that I've saved it, that means I can actually save mappings with the patch itself. If you haven't saved your patch yet, you can't save mappings with it. It's like a UI complexity that I think I'm gonna need to straighten out at some point. But what I wanna do, so there's this mix control which mixes between these two textures here. I want to map this control, which I will go to from the info page and IO. So what we're going to do is create a new mapping, and we're going to use one of these audio signals. I think... yeah, I think I'm just going to use the volume. And it's going to set the value of the mix control. And it's going to go from 0 to 1. It's often useful to put a tax on some of these of a few milliseconds just to smooth them out. And so you see down here, this is actually, so your options here, you can save it in the global mapping group, which means it'll be active for each patch, or you can save it with the patch. So this means that this mapping, which is going to map the audio volume to mix between these two textures, is going to be saved with the patch. So it's only active when the patch is loaded. So I'm going to save that right now. And now the audio should be mapping between the two volume sources, or the two texture sources. So we've basically just added a degree of audio reactivity to this. And it's like something you can play around with. I think it's in the audio actions right here. So there's a couple of different audio, audio signals. We can try doing like beat, and that means every time a beat hits, it's gonna switch between the two or it's gonna change the mix. Actually, no, that's not how that works at all. Beat wave is what you want for this. So this should like periodically, with frequency of the tempo of the track, switch between the two mix sources. You see, every time a beat hits, it actually looks pretty cool. It's only going to work when it's actually actively able to detect a beat. But you can definitely see, like, periodically, like, with the frequency of the music, it's cycling between the two texture sources. I kind of like this, but I think I might want it to be backwards. So instead of going from A to B, I'll make it go from B to A. If that makes sense. Save. So I do like this. I think it looks cool, but like I don't see the lights enough. So I really want those lights to always be visible. So you can see now the music is getting kind of quiet. The beat detection is sort of turning off. So I want to make these lights a little bigger. I think there's a control to do that inside of here, which I believe is just intensity. All right, maximum intensity. There's a spread control. I forget what that does. I'll just play around with it and try to find one that looks good. And then there's, yeah, color offset, which is not super important. Actually, let me turn the intensity down a little bit. And so that's cosine wave. What happens if I hook it up with music? I think it looks glitchy this last time I checked. Yeah, it's way too much. Let's try triangle wave. Alright, so we're going to do a couple other things in here. We're going to go into the recurse module, and we're going to hook the audio volume up to this zoom. So we're going to go from 0.9 to 1.0, 1.2. Alright, so we'll go into here, IO, new audio volume, set value. Oh, come on. All right. I don't know if I really like this. I mean, it got better when it was louder, so maybe I just have the minimum value of this too low. Maybe it just needs to be 1. And maybe I'll do this to make it a little smoother. All right, now we're doing my favorite thing. Are we gonna do that? I'm not sure. Wow, that looks really weird. What is up with that? All right, I'm gonna make this go from 0.9 to 1.1, just kind of in a oscillatory manner. Oh, whoops. I don't want to make a rose thing. All right, so I need to go here. Stop it. All right, let me just manually turn this on. Sine wave. Alright, let me just trigger it. Alright, I think that looks cool, but I also think this LFO here... Oh wait, did I turn off this LFO? Oh, come on, man. No, it's still on. Huh, I wonder why that says doesn't have an LFO. Oh wait, sorry, that's not on an LFO. It's the I/O mapping that I want. I want this volume mapping. Still a little like too jittery or something. Maybe it's just too high of a range. So I'm going to do this to 1.12. All right, what happens if so there's also, oh, whoops, I forget that doesn't work here. But I just killed my LFO. Damn it. I need to recreate this LFO manually again, sorry. It doesn't matter. So for some reason, in some circumstances, it doesn't actually let you create the LFOs, so for two-dimensional parameters, it's kind of obnoxious and a little bit difficult to understand exactly what's going on. So I'm going in here and manually creating an LFO via a fake event. I'm not actually saving this or saving this mapping, but I am going to trigger it right here. And now there is an LFO on this parameter right here. It's very slow. All right, so, and then this is being controlled by the audio. So now we're gonna go into here. There's a width control right here, which I'm gonna play around with. There's also a transparency control, which I haven't really started messing with. So width from 1 to like 0.8 looks all right. All right, so I am gonna load a random modulation pattern in. Let's just load some. We haven't used modulation anywhere, so. Oh wait, I'm not gonna do that because that'll actually start modulating parameters. So we're gonna do this, and then let's try modulating this opacity parameter with that. I kind of want it to be inverted, which I think I can just do with this button. All right, now let's just go play with the colors. First, we need a good base color palette. So we'll just start by pushing random. All right, that kind of went off the rails a little bit. Kind of liked it before I started playing with this stuff. Probably should have saved it, but it's pretty basic to get back to. I can just load this to literally get back there. Yeah, so I'm going to save this here again. And to do that, I want to overwrite the one I've already created, so yeah. All right, so let's go to this guy. All right, let's just create from scratch. So I believe there was no, actually the light was on. Let's turn the lighting off. Turn down this guy. Now we want that guy up a little bit. Instead of basic hue, let's go into here. We're gonna try turbo, which always looks cool. Actually, I think I need to go into here in the recurse module and play around with some of these things a little bit more. I'm gonna put this guy on LFO. All right. All right, now back into the color module. Let's play around with the color sphere. Actually, yeah. So first, I want to make some modulation patterns. Some of them will be audio reactive, some of them won't. Just want to. This stuff is really interesting to play with in the post-processing layer. So let's go in here and try to use kind of want this thing to be like rotating. That's modulation pattern 2. I think I can just put this on a scroll LFO. Oh my god. Can I change? No. Ooh. Alright, I'm going to do this thing again where I create a fake event. Doesn't even matter. In modulation channel 2, I want wavevec.th. No. And it's going to be a scroll LFO. No, yeah. Now, what I have done is make that rotate, basically. It's a long-winded way of getting that to move, because I just didn't want it to be static. You see now the kind of pattern in the background is rotating. All right, what else am I doing now? I don't even know what I was doing. All right, let's play around with this effect. Let's do saturate. And I'm gonna... That's not drastic enough. Yeah, I want something that looks really obvious when it's put through here. Or how about invert? Because that's as obvious as you can get. Alright, so I'm gonna hook this one up to the same kind of some audio control as well. So we're gonna go to let's do like the low frequency energy. So when kick drum hits or something like that, or there's some low frequency energy, we're gonna turn on the invert effect. Effect amount, yep. Attack. I should really set this as like a default 10 milliseconds for some of these. Yeah, I think this is right. And then there we go. It's way too much. All right, let's Go back to this event, and that was effect amount right here. Let's divide that by 2. You know, I wonder if I can make these like radial patterns like audio reactive. I think I probably can. Oh, that was cool. Let's go into this. I think that's modulation pattern 2. What happens if I use bandwave here instead? That is audio reactive, but not in the way that I want. It's too noisy. If I do that, what's that even look like? That actually looks super cool. I think it's frequency I'm going for, yeah. Cool. Alright, so that's our new modulation pattern. So what am I even doing now? I think it needs more like color variation somehow. Before that, I'm gonna get a glass of water. I'll be back in like 20 seconds. All right, what am I even doing? I don't even know. So let's go into the lighting module, which I think is here. There's a bajillion controls in here you can always play around with. Yeah, so let's try modulating that. Nah. It's too much. Wow, it looks terrible. Let's actually go in here and play around with this. That actually doesn't look terrible. It's kind of like a spotlight. Yeah, whatever. Let's go in here and mess around. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of blending modes. Let's change it. Just try a different blend mode. See what happens. Alright, this is getting nowhere. Go back here. Let's play around with some of these other controls. No. Alright, let's go back into the seed and mess around in here. So, none of this is animated, huh? Well, let's play around with these controls. Oh, it's definitely way better before I started messing with it. Oh yeah, just out of habit, let's go in here and save where we are. I did overwrite it, yeah. I just didn't upload the actual or update the actual preview. Whatever. You know, I don't know if I actually like this pulsating that I have right here. You can just go in here and disable this temporarily. Yeah, I think it's better without that. But I think I also broke something somewhere along the way, so I'm going to try to fix that. It might just be like a color issue. It's a little bit too flashy. What is causing this flashing? I don't even know. I think it's something else that's on the audio. I think it might be this thing? No, that's fine. Is that little spotlight control we got going on? I don't think so. Actually, what all is hooked up to the audio? Yep. Is it this guy? It was that guy. All right, so that guy is doing too much. Oh yeah, it's the invert control. All right, I think it's just like too much still. Or yeah, let's actually add a little bit more attack to it. Maybe it'll be smoother. All right, I like what we're doing here. It needs one more like layer or something like that, of some kind of like content or like an image blended in or something, just like another degree of variation. I'm gonna try to, the normal way to do that is through the modulation system. Let me think what exactly I want to do. I think the color palette could still use a little bit of work too in general. It's a little bit too rainbowy. Can also, here, how about we just like turn off some of the green light with the modulation system. What if just for kicks we go in here and change the symmetry? What if instead of this wave, we use like an image? So it's going to be oscillating between the lights and an image. This might be promising, I'm not really sure though. That's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Can I make this image like be changing? I think I can. I think it's a lot of work though. I probably just need to find a good one. But I am also going to go into here and turn down this height control, which is the amount of the pseudo 3D effect. I want a little bit of, yeah, I think that's good. It was looking a little bit too embossed, and that kind of turned down that. Whoops. Hey, what's happening, Bill? Glad you make it. I do think it was a good call to switch the other generative image to something with a texture, because it adds a little bit more like... It was looking a little bit too synthetic, so adding something that was a little more human created definitely added something to it. I don't know if I found the right image yet, the right texture. Kind of like this. All right, that white flashing is still too much. So we're gonna go back to home, audio, the local ones, and edit this guy again. Maybe it is the actual, like, the mix control here instead. It might be. I'm not sure actually. Oh yeah, I forgot to update that thing. I don't know if... I think most people that are like coming to the stream probably pay attention to the chat enough to know when it starts, but yeah, I should probably update that. I think the people I have running my social media keep telling everybody that the stream is at 3 p.m. too, but I'll get that sorted at some point. So, but thanks for the reminder. Now it looks like that texture went away. What happened? I just had, oh, there it is. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just kind of... I mean, I do like this, but I still think it's kind of missing something. I'm trying to figure out what. It is zoomed in a little bit too much, or zoomed out a little bit too much. I can at least fix that by doing that. What happens if I totally turn off the symmetry? By totally turn off the symmetry, I mean turn off whatever that symmetry was. Eh. Yeah, I kind of like the idea here, and I think it looks good, but it's missing some level of like excitement or something, and I can't figure out what it is. All right, whatever. I'm gonna go into here, start messing around with the crazy ones, the crazy parameters, which is this guy. I mean, that did help.
You should know I'd wage 1,000 wars for you. You should know I'd wait around the coldest winter.
That is wild.
I couldn't say. Tried to change from my old ways. They left me stolen. Please be golden. You should know why I'm here. Speak the words you need to hear.
Maybe there's too much going on. I really have no idea.
Falling awake, you're sleeping. Heavily hear your breathing. Before this I was sleeping without reason. You tried to tempt me with diamonds. I only need these for luxuries.
All right, now I'm just gonna go. I actually do think that was an improvement. I'm gonna go into the lighting module and just randomly start modulating stuff. Or maybe randomly, here, I'll just randomly animate this guy, because why the hell not? I'll put it on a step wave. This is probably gonna be stupid. Yeah, who even knows? Let's put it on like a sine wave. Sure. Specular. Nope. Yeah, why not?
tried to tempt me with diamonds. Yeah, I only need these for luxuries.
All right, and what happens if I hook the lights red amount up to some random audio? Let's do the mid-frequency energy. And we'll do from 0.6 with a 50 millisecond attack. All right, I have no idea if that did like anything. Yeah, I like those rays too. So just so you know where that comes from. Oh crap. There's a bug here. When you're on this page right here, navigation buttons don't work. And that was the red component of light, so I'm going to turn that off. And now, I believe, yeah, there we go. So, in these modulation patterns, I believe it is modulation pattern 4 right here, which is generating those rays. And then that is being hooked up to the ambient light control in the lighting submodule of the color submodule. So we have this ambient control here. It's red because it's modulated, and you see it's hooked up to modulation pattern 4 right there. So that's generating those rays. All right, I think I might call this patch done. Or at least I'm going to save it and then maybe start doing just stupid things. Whoops. All right. I'm going to try getting rid of the lights and just use like... There's a couple of things. There's this guy. What happens if I switch the... Whoa! That's wonky. What about these guys? These guys always look super cool. That looks fucking rad. I kind of didn't want to use this thing because it is really cool and like super easy to use it to make cool stuff, but you know. I think I'm gonna change the colors a little bit too and maybe play with like some zoom controls, and maybe we'll turn this into a third patch. It's too much. I think I can actually go in here and turn the intensity of these waves down a little bit too. That didn't even remotely work. I like this, it's just there's too much going on. And somehow turning the intensity all the way up to 1 helped. Whatever. Let's add some of this guy. No. All right, I'll take it. Color. Instead of the invert effect, we'll use black and white. Saturate. So we're still swapping between these two textures. I'm going to change this image to that guy. How about that one? All right, that's good. Oh, I kind of like that. This is cool. It's way too rainbowy though. I think that actually just might be the saturate effect. Let's go to pastel. Maybe it's not. It might be the color sphere. Oh, I think this is actually hooked up to audio control. Did my music stop? What's going on here? What is going on? That song is just quiet. This is way too much.
You've got nowhere to go. These streets are now occupied by ghosts.
Let's get back into here and play around with this thing some more. Make it less insane. It's kind of cool. Kind of like this, even though it is also, yeah, insane. Different color entirely.
You've been walking the streets for a while, they're occupied by ghosts, so say goodbye. You've been walking the streets for a while, you know all the places that could have saved your life.
Yeah, I'm gonna go into here and turn down the band gain some more to make the audio. See, all the way down here it should be barely audio reactive. Turn it up. Alright, I am just going to turn this from the AB texture just into solid this texture. There we go. And I'm gonna go in here and like mess around with these.
You've got nowhere to go. Your dreams are still the same as they were in the past. You gotta move on, you gotta move on, you gotta get fast. You've been walking the streets for a while, they're occupied by ghosts, so say goodbye. You've been walking the streets for a while, you know all the places that could have saved your
Set a line. Let's go for a circle. No, thank you. Let's go with solid. No. Alright, I might abort on this patch. This is getting nowhere fast, and I don't know if I have it in me to make another one from scratch. Made this one, which was cool. We also made this one, which was pretty cool. Although I think I turned... This isn't responding as much as I think it should. Could be because I turned some of those parameters down, but that shouldn't really... It should be completely... Maybe it's just a different track it's responding to. Because it looked like it was more responsive earlier. This is a little better. Yeah, it's very gray.
Stop. If you and I stop staying in my heart.
It's probably just the track. It just has a different audio content. This one's cool though. All right. Anyways, I think that's probably it for the stream today. I'm getting kind of tired, so yeah. Anybody have any questions or anything? Like I said, I'm gonna try to get that audio issue that people have run into a handful of times over the past few weeks out in a release this week. Plan probably this weekend or towards the end of the week. I should be able to get another release out, which should have some bug fixes and some hopefully some improvements to the Wi-Fi manager, because that thing is super ghetto and I've been meaning to get around to fixing it for a while. So I want to try to get that straightened out. All right, cool. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it. All right, I will see you guys again next weekend. All right, have a good weekend. Happy New Year.